clean room, my children. It's an ordinary-looking room, but it travels, my children. And all the things you'll see when you travel. Let's read some clean room and solve all our problems. When she was a little girl, Astrid Mueller was almost killed in a car accident involving a grumpy man who seemed to go out of his way to back up and run over her. And I say accident, especially because from Astrid's perspective, well, it wasn't a truck, that's for sure. After the locals beat the homicidal driver to death for this, Astrid wakes up in the hospital to find, well, according to her, her father's face is made of snakes. Later in life, Astrid wrote gothic horror novels for years before writing a self-help book that put her on the map. 6 months ago, reporter Chloe Pierce tried to commit suicide after having lost her own fiancé to suicide and suffered a miscarriage. She's rescued by her neighbors, the Haverlin brothers. Innocent sweeties, really, and Chloe is pissed. If she's still going to be alive, she's going to try to find out what it was about Astrid's self-help book and her organization that she's built that drove him to do such a thing. When Chloe talks to a homeless friend of hers who was in the organization, he warns her to stay away, that he's been in the clean room, and that it's worse than hell, worse than emptiness. With no other choice, she travels to Astrid's headquarters in Chicago, meeting first with her surly ex-Mossad assistant, Miss Killian Reed. See, and nothing sells me on a story more than a character with the word kill in their name. She tries to push Chloe off as she keeps insisting on talking to Astrid, even knowing about what happens to reporters who try to say mean things about her boss, but Chloe won't budge, even as she sees a monster saying nasty things about Miss Reed behind her. After all, she has nothing left to lose at this point. Astrid herself finally enters and agrees to an interview. During it, when Chloe explains her reasoning behind this, she sees the monster again, and Astrid takes notice. She takes Chloe to the clean room, and after going through some sterilization procedures, she enters the entirely white room. Astrid talks to a man in the room who is having trouble sleeping. And inside the room, he talks about his greatest fears, of things that his mother put in his head, and the room itself seems to change. And we learn that this man is a child murderer, and after he confronts his fears, Astrid just lets him go. After all, she's not the police, she was looking for something else. And to that, Chloe swears to destroy this place for such a horrible attitude. And as someone who greatly appreciates you, my children, yeah, I'm inclined to agree. But it seems Astrid may know more than she lets on, as later that night, the man's fears come to life and, well, deal with him. You're back on my good list, Astrid. Don't leave it again. While Chloe is away, a man enters her home, seeing ghostly images of her dead fiancé. But fortunately is confronted by the Haverlin brothers, who naturally do not like anyone breaking into her home. Like they just did. Whoops. Anyway, the man turns around and reveals his face, to the shock of the brothers. Personally, I think he looks pretty handsome. Everyone else has weird standards of beauty. After he attacks the three and walks away, Chloe is attacked by a gas station attendant who claims she tried to use a dead woman's credit card. Killian, however, shows up before he can try to do anything else to her. Chloe thinks this is all just part of the game. Anyone who is considered a threat to the organization and not affiliated with has their credit destroyed, ruin their reputations, etc. However, Killian thinks they should just find a motel together and screw each other's brains out. But then, a news report about a celebrity committing suicide gets her to leave, telling Chloe that Astrid thinks she has potential. But if she tries to hurt Astrid, she'll get a tire iron to the face. Speaking of, Astrid goes to the clean room to talk to another man who apparently experienced some kind of alien abduction of sorts. He claims that heaven is actually in the ground, that people are constantly stepping on the faces of angels. But during the recreation of his abduction, He is possessed by the man who tried to kill Astrid as a child. The death of the celebrity is being blamed on Astrid's organization, and people are turning away from it, since they had taken so much credit in helping him turn his life around. Killian thinks Chloe might be able to help them with the situation, offering her the full interview she wanted. But Chloe is not in the mood for it, especially not when she gets home and finds the Haverland brothers injured, but still happy and helping repair her house from the damage the intruder made. Meanwhile, the creature possessing the man in the clean room insists on being released, making threats and insults, but Astrid holds strong, wanting to know what its name is. It laughs, saying that the Library of Alexandria had a whole section in it about that before it made them burn it all down. Astrid's assistant kills him when he starts advancing on her, much to her anger. Chloe, meanwhile, is confronted in her home by another creature, who says that its kind are rather mean, but it just likes to play, and it will do so by helping Chloe kill herself. While another associate of Killian named Capote deals with the celebrity fallout, Chloe speaks with the creature, who identifies itself as Spark. It explains how it was once exorcised out of a little girl's body, and then it proceeds to take possession of one of the Haverland brothers. However, even it seems scared when it realizes someone is approaching the house, a being called the Surgeon, who was responsible for killing Chloe's homeless friend. Back with Astrid, her assistant who shot the creature becomes possessed by it, but fortunately with Killian's help outside the clean room, they utilize the assistant's own memories to bring about his own fears and memories to screw with his mind, allowing them to defuse the situation. Spark wants Chloe to run, but she refuses, needing to know what it was that brought her fiancé to suicide. Spark replays the events that transpired, a message from Astrid about how, after she was almost murdered, she was able to see the world for what it truly was, and a parasite that was riding on her father. They are legion, and they are all around you. The full extent of everything that was explained to him drove him to suicide. The surgeon enters, claiming to be her doctor, and he seems to be trying to alter her memories of what transpired. But she sees right through it and puts some knives in his face, that do nothing to him. Spark returns and hands Chloe her phone, Astrid having been trying to call her since the creature mentioned that the surgeon was going after her. For 15 years, Astrid's people have been working on a weapon to shoot at the creature's invisible city, and she threatens the surgeon over the phone to leave Chloe alone or she'll fire it. She convinces him to leave, but Chloe wants to know what the hell they are. Aliens? Demons? Angels? Overlords? Oh, but its answer is simple. They're inmates. Astrid goes to see Chloe, explaining that she risked exposing her weapon because Chloe has certain powers that put her above even Killian in terms of value, and she needs to be protected. As Astrid said, every horrid nightmare and bleak concept of what is watching us from above is true. Clean Room is horrific in its imagery and terrifying in its concepts. And we shall enter it again sometime, my children.